The search for immediate solutions to reduce fear and restore confidence among citizens is priority. Tonight, Babajide Ogusowo, data scientist and information consultant with Channels Television, is here to share the latest insights. Babajide, great to have you as always.
Good evening, Amarachi.
Good evening, and unfortunately we're talking security, and all of those deaths have happened in 3 states today. So there does seem to be a widespread spread of domestic crime and terrorist activities. Is there any specific reason for this, and what may be driving this pattern?
The specific reason is we need to look at this criminal situation and this fight against terrorism differently. When we hear about countries such as Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, we need to look at what is common to these countries and exactly what is going on in Africa, and it will provide some answers. So I would like us to first of all look at how terrorists operate, because it provides a lot of insights about what exactly is going on. And if you focus and we take a look at how terrorists operate, for instance, in the Middle East, you hear countries like Afghanistan. Here's the truth. Just beside, to the left of Afghanistan is Iran. Borders. To the left of Iran is Iraq, borders, and to the left of Iraq is Syria. In other words, terrorists never stay in just one country. Terrorism spreads. That is the way they operate. Let's look at what is going on in Africa. Sudan. To the left of Sudan, we have Chad, sharing borders. We also have the Central African Republic, and to the left of Chad, Nigeria. Again, I repeat, terrorism never resides in one country. Terrorism operates regionally. In other words, there are 3 ways terrorists operate. They split, they spread, and then they surround. And as long as we keep focusing on terrorism and crime from just a national perspective, we will really never find solutions. We need to understand that terrorism spreads regionally, and even local crime as well. With what we are seeing, it spreads. Criminals never stay in one location. Terrorists as well never stay in one location. That is the way they operate. 3S, the split, the spread, and the surround.
So what is your perspective then on the significance of the Chadian president Idris Deby's death?
Now, we've seen a lot of people talk about the Chadian crisis. But here's the fact, and that is what is certain about Chad is the uncertainty. And here's what I mean, Amarachi. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Ever since Chad gained independence, every president that has been elected has either been killed or overthrown. Let's take a look at the 3 presidents and looking at what exactly has gone wrong. President Tomba Baye, Chadian's first elected civilian president, was assassinated in 1975. What do the Chadians remember him for? He was the president that in 1969 conducted an election, even though he was the only one on the ballot. He was assassinated in 1975. President Habre, he spent 8 years as president in Chad. He was overthrown in 1990. However, he's currently serving jail time for crimes against humanity, war crimes. And then we face the murder of President Deby this month. He's been president for 3 decades. However, he's been involved in Chad's politics and military operations for 4 decades. What do we see? A murder this month. In other words, like I said, every president that has been elected in Chad has either been killed or overthrown. So what is certain in Chad is its uncertainty.
The uncertainty of a government or the uncertainty of insurgency?
Uncertainty about everything, both politics, both governance, both partnerships. So yes, we see a lot of the military working with the Chadian government and other countries, the multinational joint task force. However, what we've seen is that Chad is facing 3 wars, Amarachi. The first is they are facing ethno-religious wars. The second is they are facing what we call mineral resource wars, and they're also facing land wars. These land wars, they've been fighting for over half a century. And so these are the 3 major wars that they are fighting in Chad. And this is a country that has a large land population, even though large land area, even though their population isn't much. So we see that it's a tough country to really partner with to be able to find solutions to this war.
And you've already established that, we're also impacted by what's happening around us because terrorism or insurgency also surrounds. So Nigeria is affected, and this is impacting on our own domestic security. Government assets have been attacked this year. We've seen kidnappings. We've also seen avoidable deaths. What are the latest facts that you have?
Now, the challenges with the reports we are getting in Nigeria right now is we see a lot of underestimated and overestimated reports. So it's extremely tough to be able to put accurate numbers to this. What an international organization like the Global Database of Terrorism, what they do is they take these numbers on a daily basis, and after auditing it, they release their report. So what is reliable is to look at terrorism activities based on trends. And if we focus on the trends as reported and released by the Global Database of Terrorism in the last decade, and I'm talking about between 2010 and 2019, here's what you'll find. And those patterns have relatively been constant in the last 3 years. They report that between 2010 and 2019, the countries that have had the highest number of deaths due to terrorism, the top 3 countries are Iraq, with approximately 58,000 people killed due to terrorism in the last 10 years, Afghanistan, approximately 52,000 people killed, and Nigeria, from the Global Database of Terrorism, is the 3rd most terrorized state in the world. Now, these facts clearly show that there is a challenge within the country, but this challenge cannot be sorted out by just looking at the insecurity challenges we face from a national perspective. Like the trends have shown, we have to look at how terrorists move and be able to understand that terrorism is actually more of a regional problem than a country-specific problem.
Is that what security forces should focus on?
Here's what we know that the security agencies and the military chiefs are focusing on. If we take a look at how they've been operating in unity. And here's why this is important. Based on research, the greatest way, and the fastest way rather, for a country to be united is for the military to be divided. The fastest way for a country to be divided is for the military to be divided. The good news is that the Nigerian military today is not divided. What happened and what is going on in countries that are near failed states is that their military leaders are divided. I repeat, the greatest and the fastest way for a country to be divided is for the military to be divided. The good news is we're seeing synergy and collaboration among Nigeria's military chiefs. And so, yes, I agree that Nigeria's greatest assets are the potential youths that need to be engaged. Yes, those are our greatest assets, our population and the youths. But our second greatest asset at the moment right now is that our military is united. Now, even though that is good news, that brings us to the next point, which is how do we then improve and make, like you started with, how do we restore confidence to Nigerians? And the way and the fastest way to do that is to ensure that we re-diagnose the problems. And after we re-diagnose the problems, we then focus on the solutions and implement those solutions. At the moment, the evidence that I see is that the diagnosis of the problems are wrong. If we diagnose the problems better and we then focus on improving the solutions, then more Nigerians will have confidence in the government.
Well, still a lot to discuss here, Babajide, but thanks for, continuing the conversation with us. And I know we'll still be talking about this as things progress. Thanks again for joining us.
Let's diagnose the problems.
Yep.
And I think I'm out of time again.
You are, for now.
Wow.